Welcome to In the Loop Podcast, the podcast that threads the world of crochet right into your ears. I'm your host, Brianna, your crochet companion, here to share tips, stories, and the joy of crochet. Whether you're seasoned or just beginning to explore the world of yarn, grab your favorite hook, a cozy spot, and an open mind. So let's get into today's episode. So today we're going to be analyzing crochet trends. I'm going to be predicting the fall and winter trends this year, and we're going to talk about how crochet used to be and the new age of crochet. So first, let's get into the American history of crochet. This will be really brief. So in the 1910s, that is where we saw a lot of crochet laces made with beige, white, tan, stuff like that. But in the 1940s, there was a surge in home crafts because it was post-war. And in the 1970s, that's where you see the granny square motifs that we still use today and colorful stripes, just colorful crochet, rather than the muted white laces that we saw in the past. Now, when we look into modern crochet, there are many methods on how you can crochet, like Tunisian, like free-form crochet. The lace crochet is still pretty popular now. So there's just a wide variety of what we can do with the hook these days. And it is also easier to spread that information, spread how to make the craft, because obviously back in the 1900s, there wasn't YouTube. There weren't sites like Etsy, Ravelry, all of the pattern websites. Those didn't exist back then. So now it is easier to share our craft with other people, share certain instructions on how to make certain things. And I'm very grateful for that, because if I lived back in the 1900s, I probably would not be a crochet artist, because I didn't start off by pattern reading, but back then, all they really had was pattern reading. So if you didn't know how to read patterns, you probably didn't know how to crochet unless somebody that you personally knew was able to teach you. So the good thing about 2023, and when I learned back in the early 2000s, of course, after YouTube existed, that we can be visual learners and learn how to crochet without personally knowing someone who can crochet or personally have someone teach you how to crochet, because we had YouTube available for us where we can just look up any question that we had, look up, oh, how do I make a sweater? How do I make a skirt? Stuff like that. So I'm really grateful for that. You should be too, because imagine if we were all in the 1900s. How good would you be at crocheting? Now we also have a surge in plushies like the amigurumis. A lot of people love making those, selling those in markets. We also make pretty much anything crochet. We make home goods, we make clothing, we make blankets. The list goes on and on. And with modern crochet, I will say a lot of younger people are actually into the art. Unlike the stereotype that only grandmothers crochet things for their grandkids and their children, now we have people starting in their teenage years or even just in their adolescence, where they are picking up the hook and learning basic stitches and carrying that on for the rest of their lives, rather than when they're just older, like people assumed in the past. We are also seeing more crochet work on the runway. And with that being said, it is definitely more popular as a clothing item or textile than it's ever been before, because now we see them in places like H&M, Forever 21, pretty much any teenage store, any fast fashion store, you'll find something crochet inspired or knitwear. With that being said, at these fast fashion stores like Shein or Forever 21, their crochet-esque pieces may not necessarily be crochet, but some of them are marketed as crochet granny squares, although they were made by a machine. And if you don't know, crochet cannot be replicated by a machine. So that can cause a false narrative to consumers who don't crochet themselves that crochet should be valued at this price of like $15 for a top. So for people who actually crochet, this can hurt them when they are trying to sell their pieces and pay themselves a fair wage, because a lot of the world believes that crochet should be cheaper because they saw the prices at fast fashion places. But at least that is better than having people underpaid for doing genuine crochet work for that cheap of a price when being sold from Shein and stuff like that. So I will say both of them are pretty bad, but I will say it's better for people to think that something is crochet when it actually isn't, versus it actually being crochet for a cheap price. I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I've been seeing a lot of in the crochet industry, what I think is pretty popular right now. So of course, we've been seeing so many bows on everything, bows on sweaters, just crocheting bows, brushing them out, making them fluffy, bows on sleeves, bows on shoes, bows on pants, bows on everything pretty much. So I think bows are really cute. I also started incorporating bows into my work because it's just so feminine, so soft. We've also been seeing a lot of headphone charms. So in crochet, you can make a bunch of little shapes. So I've been seeing a lot of stars, a lot of hearts, puffballs, anything, even fruits like strawberries, cherries. Pretty much anything can be made into a headphone charm as long as you add a chain onto it and you just tie it in a little bow on your headphones. And I think that's so cute, and I've been seeing more and more of that recently, as well as headphone covers. So like, the Apple Air Max headphones, I've been seeing people crochet things like covers to put on their headphones. And I thought that's really cool and a really cool way to incorporate crochet into your everyday life. We've also been seeing a ton of ruffles. Ruffles has always been popular, but I feel like we've been seeing it in almost everything in the crochet community lately, like on sleeves, on leg warmers, on skirts, on tops, on dresses. Pretty much any garment you can think of, people like ruffles on them, and I do too. I'm also a victim of adding ruffles to almost everything, like leg warmers. It's also very popular to crochet skirts, whether those are midi skirts, mini skirts, maxi skirts. I think they're all really cute. A lot of people make them in a variety of ways, whether it's lacy and more see-through or if it's solid. I really love the solid mini skirts with the ruffles on the bottom and pockets. Yeah, just incorporating all of those trends into one is really cool to see, and I do that a lot in my own work as well. Last winter, I also started seeing a surge in cat ear beanies. So people still make those all the time, specifically the striped ones too, but obviously the plain ones, and now people have been adding charms dangling from the cat ears or adding like metal chains onto their beanies and stuff. So just incorporating different materials into crochet that you don't traditionally see. So with that being said, basically any article of clothing can be translated into a crochet pattern / crochet piece nowadays. And I would say that is very popular. Like I make a crochet puffer jacket, crochet hoodie, pretty much anything that exists. Us crochet artists have been going wild and trying to experiment with making these items crochet as well. And I think that's really cool with modern crochet, how we can be so innovative, so creative, and branch away from just doing granny squares and motifs. So now we're gonna play a little game. You can play along with me. So this is just to crochet or not to crochet. So I wrote down a few items that some people think shouldn't be made crocheted and some people think they should be. So we're gonna go through those and I will give you my thoughts. So the first one we have is crochet socks. So I will say not to crochet. For me personally, I have crocheted socks before. They're not the most comfortable. I do think knitted socks work better. They're more thin, they fit to the foot better. But with crochet socks, it's kind of hard to, one, get a nice shape, make them feel nice. And I also just like the look of knitted more because it grabs onto your foot rather than being more of a booty, which is more crochet. And yeah, I just think knit socks are more comfortable than crochet socks if I would wear either one, because I've never worn knit socks, but to the eye, they look nicer than crochet socks, in my opinion. I also think crochet socks would just be too thick. So again, it would be more of a slipper than socks. So now we have crochet pants. So I've actually crocheted plenty of pants before. I will say I would only wear them if it's wintertime, because it will make you sweat a lot. No matter what material it is, if it's cotton or if it's acrylic, it will make you sweat just because it is a very thick material. Crochet is a lot thicker than knit is. So just keep that in mind when thinking of articles of clothing to make. I will say to crochet though, because I love granny square pants. I love making wide-legged pants. I love making joggers. So I will say it's a staple for me in the winter time, but it is kind of hard to make look good. Like to make the legs symmetric, to make the seam straight, that can be difficult sometimes. So it isn't a project to do if you're ambitious, but yeah, I'll say to make. If you want to make it, go ahead and try it out. Just don't expect to wear it in the summertime unless it's like a cover up with a lot of holes and it's very lacy. So next we have crochet hoodies. I mean, if y'all know me, y'all know I have my crochet hoodie pattern. Y'all can go ahead and check that out on Etsy or on my website, linked in the description. I'll say to crochet, of course. I love my crochet hoodie. I wear it all the time. It's just like wearing a normal hoodie, basically. Doesn't matter if it gets wet. It's just like any other material when it comes to a hoodie. And then lastly, I'll talk about crochet flowers. Although a lot of them look really pretty, I'll go with not to crochet because for me, it'll just be a waste of space. I have too much stuff in my room and I don't know what I would do with some crochet flowers. I guess if I really liked flowers, that would be a cool project to do, but I don't really have a calling to make or buy crochet flowers. And now we can finally get into my predictions for crochet fashion for the fall and winter seasons. So in the spirit of Fashion Week, which is going on right now, the fall season of Fashion Week, and also yesterday was National Crochet Day. So yeah, but I've been seeing a lot of asymmetrical things. I will say asymmetrical items have been popular for a minute now, but it's basically like one side of the garment isn't the same as the other side, or the top half isn't the same as the bottom half. We have like one shoulder, one sleeve, one that doesn't have a sleeve, asymmetrical ends, like one side of a top is longer than the other side, one side of a skirt is longer than the other side, just stuff like that. And I feel like since that's popular in the normal fashion industry right now, that a lot of people will make crochet versions like I like to do. I like to make crochet versions of normal clothing. So I feel like this will inspire many crochet artists to make a lot of asymmetrical crochet pieces. On the runway, we have been seeing a lot of furry and fuzzy textures as well. So I think a lot of artists will opt into using some furry yarn, some ethereal eyelash yarn, which kind of looks like mohair yarn on that note as well. So I feel like that material will be a lot more popular during the winter and fall seasons, especially for some cardigans, for dresses, for skirts. Just a lot of things can be fuzzy, and that's what's been popular on the runway lately. I also think we'll see more of the oversized and comfortable fit rather than something tight, like an oversized sweater dress, oversized hoodies, oversized cardigans. I also think we'll see super long leg warmers, even stockings that go all the way past the knees or to the knees with bows, like I said before, in different materials. I haven't seen these on the runway, but I think ponchos will be making a comeback this fall and winter because one, they're super cute, and I feel like the Western style and like earthy style is really in now, and I feel like ponchos are a big part of that. And maybe I just haven't been a part of the poncho scene in the past, but a lot of ponchos have been coming up on my Pinterest page. So I think a lot of people will be making ponchos with the fringes and just cute variations of crochet ponchos. I also think we'll see a lot of sheer crochet pieces. So either mesh like the shirt that I have on now, if you can see me, and then some mohair pieces like some pieces I made before, which I'll put on the screen. Just things that you can kind of see an outfit underneath through that we can use for layering, because layering has really been on point lately in the past years. And I feel like layering will be even bigger this year. And with that being said, I think boleros, not the ones that we've been crocheting a lot lately, which are just mesh tops that are really cropped essentially, but the boleros where it's only sleeves and like the sleeves are hanging on by your shoulders. I think we'll see a lot more boleros that look like knit or even are knit, but we can replicate that with the slip stitch. I think those are really cute. I've been seeing them in Target and stuff like that. I want to make my own. It's very ballet core, which has been popular lately. So I think the boleros will definitely be a big thing this fall and winter season. Just like last year, I think distress pieces will be making an appearance in the fall and winter seasons, but more so we'll have holes in different shapes, not necessarily just distressed ends or distressed collars, but the whole piece is overall distressed. Hopefully I'll see a lot more crochet puffer jackets. I did make a few crochet puffer jackets last year and I was obsessed with them. I definitely want to make some more this year. So I want to see more crochet puffer jackets because the texture is amazing. They're so warm. I just love a good puffer jacket. I think we'll also see a lot of graph gans, so a bunch of pictures made onto sweatshirts with crochet stitches. We'll see a bunch of oversized sweater dresses that are graph gans and cardigans. We'll also definitely see a bunch of people experiment with different textures and different stitches in their garments. So like making different rows of their pieces, a different stitch or a different color or a different type of yarn, just to give more dimension to the crochet pieces, to make it tell more of a story, to make it more unique. And you can do this for any basic garment, like any normal sweater. If you just make each row a different color or make one row furry yarn, one row mohair yarn, one row cotton, stuff like that, that'll really elevate a basic piece. So I think we'll see a lot of that. And I've been seeing them in leg warmers, especially on Pinterest. I've been seeing people do different rows with different textures and colors, and I think it looks really cool and it really elevates a basic piece, like I said before. But it'll also be like the fold over knit top. I'll put a picture if you can't visualize what I'm saying. But it's basically cold shoulder, off the shoulder, and then it folds over and it's tight fitted at the bottom. It doesn't have to be tight fitted, but that's usually what we see. And of course, I think we'll see some ribbed skirts, mini skirts, maybe midi skirts, but I think those are not going away anytime soon, especially for the fall, because those are so cute, and the fall and spring are the perfect seasons for a cute crochet mini skirt, especially ribbed for the fall time. And it can definitely elevate any outfit by adding some extra texture to a normal outfit. I think we'll also see extra long scarves, like to our knees, past our knees scarves, because we like to be extra, and I feel like everybody's gonna be extra this fall and winter time, and it'll be super warm, super cute. We can have rib scarves, we can have the different texture scarves, we can have graph gan scarves. The possibilities are endless, like I said. But please comment down below your predictions for the fall and winter season. At this point, my camera did die, but thankfully this was the end of the video anyways. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. And don't forget to join us next week where I will have a special guest, Dinah. You may or you may not know her, but if you don't, you will get to know her on our next podcast. So I hope you have an amazing day or night, and peace.